8.1. So let's get started. Make a new file, name it mail tester, and make the class mail tester. Like always, public static void main arguments. Public static void main string arguments. We're going to be making a mail, and let's call this object mail1. And it's not going to receive any parameters since it's going to ask the parameters through the scanner class, and you'll see what I'm talking about as we move along. And we'll have this mail class print a function, print the information for us. And make a new file, call it mail, and we're going to make a new class. And first let's make a constructor. Before we do all this, we have to import something. I think it's java.util scanner. And in our public class, we're going to make a private scanner class. Let's make it private. We'll call it in, and just like any other object, it doesn't receive any parameters, so we're going to leave it like that. And we have four variables we're working with: length, width, height, and weight. So private, and we're gonna have these as double. They can be integers, but I just want to have them double just for more accuracy, or if like the user just wants doubles or something. So my height, width, length is the longest, by the way. That's just arbitrary. And then width. Oh wait, I'm sorry. And when we call upon the constructor, we're going to make three variables, and these are temporary variables called the dimension1, dimension2, let me just copy and paste this, and dimension3. And the way we're going to create, we're going to receive the values is we're going to say in dot next double. If you recall from the last chapter, that's how you get the next double integer. And we're going to repeat that for the next 3 steps. And finally, we have to get our our weight. But the reason why we're making these temporary variables is because we are reorganizing them. And the way we're going to put my weight is, since we're not reorganizing anything, we can simply set my weight into the next integer. Something that's important to note is, see, if we were to try to make these dimensions into the actual height, width, and length, and try to organize them from there, like saying height equals width, and then next line width equals height, you'd run into a weird error because your height and width would be the same thing, because you're not you're replacing the other, and the computer has no idea what that previous value was. So you have to create temporary variables when you're swapping things or reorganizing things. That's just a need. Like there's no way to get around it. And in order to swap these, we have to say use an if-else. When we use an if-else statement, keep these brackets. Just don't avoid them, even if you can. And we're going to say if dimension1 is greater than dimension2, then we would typically, if we had two variables, we would typically just say my length is equal to dimension 1, because length has to be largest and dimension 1 is obviously larger. However, that's not the case. Since we have to check for dimension 3, and we already know dimension 2 is smaller right now, we can say, because since we tested this in the if statement, we know for a fact that from here to here, dimension 1 is in fact larger. So now we have to check dimension 3. And since dimension 3 is smaller than dimension 1, and dimension 2 is smaller than dimension 1, length is equal to dimension 1. But if dimension 1 from this if statement is not greater than dimension 3, that means dimension 1 is smaller than dimension 3. It might be a little hard to follow, but it's really fairly simple. You're just organizing them in like weeding out the smaller one. So what we're doing here is weeding out the smaller one. We compare the bigger one to the smaller one. If that's not it, that means the other one's the biggest one. That's basically all it's saying right now. And we're going to change that to 3, since 3 is going to be bigger in the else. And here, so we finish this, just ignore this now. We look at the else statement. Dimension 1 is greater than dimension 2. If that is not the case, that means dimension 2 is greater. If dimension 2 is greater, we have to check if dimension 2 is greater than dimension 3. And I just realized I made a mistake in my notes. So I'm going to have to kind of guess. So sorry if I go kind of slow. And then after that we have to say else dimension my length is equal to dimension 3. Wait, hold up. Oh, actually, well, yeah. And, so what we're going to do for the width and the height, we can just choose whichever one we want. So let's just, choose height first. It can be width too, but, I just feel like choosing height first for the first one. So we're going to say dimension 2 and dimension 3. These ones don't matter which order they go in. They just have to be not the one you set to length. I'm just going to copy and paste those in there. And we are done with the constructor. Now that's actually quite a long constructor. There are other ways to shorten that, but you guys are going to have to figure that out by yourself. We're going to make a helper class called get Girth, and since we need a double, since all of our values have been double so far, it just makes sense. We're going to call that get Girth. And if you recall, that's just the perimeter of the smaller two dimensions. And the smaller two dimensions, as we defined, are height and width. And since the order doesn't matter which one it is, we're going to say 2 times my height or width plus the opposite, my, and in this case it's width. Okay, on our final method, I'm sorry, I'm really sleepy. We're going to make that a public value because it's going to print our information, and since it's not going to give any values away or back, it's going to have void as its return type, and it receives no parameters. So for this, we're going to check out what is correct and what's not correct, and keep repeating that process. You'll see what's going on. So what we're going to say is get Girth plus length, my length, I'm sorry. And if you guys recall in the directions, right here, the length is supposed to be, and the length plus girth is supposed to be less than 100, and the weight has to be less than less than 70 pounds. Ooh, geez, I'm sleepy. So let's just go through our first process for our first test, and then we'll go on to the weight. So let's say get girth and length is less than 100. So that's okay right now. But now we have to test for our weight. So let's say my weight is less than 70. And now if our weight is less than 70, then we can say system.out.print line whatever it's supposed to be. Let's just call it OK. And the reason we have a nested, this is what you call a nested condition, is because now we can say else heavy. Because we know for a fact that it's not too big, but it is heavy. So by doing it this way, we eliminate the fact of having multiple extremely long and statements. Because some of you might have thought like maybe we should do get girth plus my length is less than 100 and my weight is less than 70, then print out OK or whatever, and then you could have done for another statement, get girth plus my length is less, if it's less than 100 and my weight is greater than or equal to 70, then print out heavy. But the problem with that is it works, but long if statements makes it much harder to read, even whereas like these have like a systematic logical event process, I guess. And else we're going to do the same exact process. So it's too big right now. In the else statements, we know for a fact too big. Now we say it's too heavy. Or I mean, but it's too big but okay on weight. So we'll say big. If it's else, that means it is not okay on weight, so it's too heavy. Which means it's heavy and big. Actually, that's weird. And big. So I think I did this right, but usually whenever I say that, I'm always wrong. Yep. Oh, I forgot to put system.in. There is a parameter. I'm sorry. I'm sleepy today. Sweet. It works. And if I did this correctly, that means 19, 19, 19, and 69 should be the maximum for all of them, and that's okay. Let's run it one more time. So 20, 20, 20, 69, and if I did this correctly, that means it's too big. Let's see. Wait, 20 plus 20 is 40. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. 20 is okay. 24 is where it should stop working, I think. I don't know, whatever. So yeah, I guess that's it. There's a lot more you could do, as in using like the trinary operators, the conditional operators, which is a trinary operator too, I think. I don't know the technical names very well, but yeah, there's a lot of things you can do to clean this up. But this is the core of it. So leave comments if you guys have any questions. Sorry if this tutorial is confusing. I'm a little sleepy right now. Anyways, I'll see you guys next week. I have no idea how to stop this. Oh.